Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at saving data in Unity, which is a really big part of creating games and creating especially, games that you want to save over different levels or save data between different intervals of playtime. So what I've got here is just a really basic scene. Don't worry about this. These are the test scripts that I wrote beforehand to help me in case I forget. Also, if I go into my game and it looks like this, it's fine. All I've done is set the background to solid color on the camera and have the background as that color there. It just means that we can focus on what's actually happening. Anyway, before we start the video, please subscribe if you like the video. Our channel has gotten huge. It's growing. It's really cool. And also check out our Discord. We're a bunch of really fun people, and we just kind of chat and do coding and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, but all links are in the description as well. And also support me on Patreon if you don't want to listen to the stupid video. You can actually get all the project files for like $3 or something. It's really good. Anyway, let's get started. Alright, so like usual, I'm just going to create a new folder, and we're going to call it scripts in our project panel. And in these scripts, we're going to set up a few, we're going to set up one kind of base class script that's going to hold all our data. So we can create a C# script, and we're going to call this the player data. And in this player data, it's going to look really weird. You won't see many scripts like this, really, but you will later on. We're literally just going to remove everything. I prefer to do that. And remove mono behavior. We are just using this as a plain class that we can have some data on. So first of all, we're going to make a public string, and this is going to be called our name, or our player name actually, so we don't get an error from Unity. We can also make a public string, and now this is going to be, let's say we're making a like a RPG, right? So we might have our player class. I'm just going to put player before everything. And then we're also going to have a public integer, and let's say we have our player level. You know, some basic variables that you might see in an RPG game. Next, we're going to make a public player data, and this means we can call it from anywhere, I believe. And we can, yes, we can. And what we can do here is in the public player data, we can input a string, and this is just going to be called the player name. We're going to input a string, and this is going to be called the player class. And we're going to input a integer, and this is going to be, you guessed it, the player level. Now inside here, we can go this dot player name is equal to player name, and I realized that I actually completely butchered this. Let's do this. And then with this dot player class is equal to player class, and you guessed it, this dot player level is equal to player level, as you might have guessed. Cool. So this is essentially what we're going to be saving into what we call a JSON file, j.json. Oh crap, sorry, those were in my ref scripts. Let me quickly change it. Okay, they can no longer cause trouble because I actually completely removed it. Removed the folder. So, we all good now. So we can now create player data from anywhere and store it. So which is what we're actually going to do right now. What we can do is create two more classes. One's going to be called the player stats, so this might be the thing you'll have on your player. You can also, if you have a separate player manager or player class or something, you can also put all this code in here, in there. We're also going to be creating another one. Oh, yeah, it's loading. We're going to be calling this one JsonSaving, or JsonSave. We'll call it JsonSaving just to make sure. Quickly in JsonSaving, we're just going to create two functions. One called save data. There's actually has to be a public void called save data, and the other one has to be a public void called, you guessed it, load data. Yep, two very basic classes that we're going to be calling from our player stats, which is why we're creating them now. So next in our player stats, we can, oh, sorry, there we go. I don't know why I have a habit of doing that. It just looks nicer. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing all of this, and then we're going to create a public JsonSaving, and we're just going to call this, like, I don't know, like, JSON data or JsonSaving. We'll just call it JsonSaving. Make it easy. Make it easy, Joe. Jeez. And we're going to be making a player data, and we're going to be calling this data. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating an update method. And what we can do is, if we can get an input, obviously you have different ways of saving and loading your data. This is just a easy way that I found. I'll do it now. Key input dot get key. I haven't used this in a while. Get key down. Key code dot s, and this will be the save data. We don't even need these, to be honest. We can just do JsonSaving, and then we can do .save data. And later on, we'll probably input something there that we have to save. Anyway, next we can input get key down, key code .l, and here we're just going to be JsonSaving. You guessed it. Load data. Really basic. Don't forget the brackets. Cool, so now we're going to be saving and loading the data from our scripts. And something else that could happen is, what we might want to do is just on start method, we can just go data is equal to a new player data. And here we can input a few things. Again, you'll probably have another way of checking the player data and making it. You know, at the start of each save, you might be like, okay, what's your name, what's your class, and that kind of stuff, which you'll see it later on. But for this tutorial, for the basis of this tutorial, I'm not going to be doing that, just because it's a bit too complicated. You know, it'll take another 30 minutes. I want to try to keep this at least short. And we're just going to name my player Joe. I wonder why. And then the class will be a mage, and so let's say the level's something like, 17, or yeah, we'll go 17. 17's a pretty basic one. Cool, so now we're creating new data, and then we're getting input to save it. Now, we actually need to write the saving script. And the first thing we're going to do is going to be removing that, and we're just going to be using system, and we're going to be .io, because we'll be using the path attributes. Attributes? I don't know if that's the right word. Okay, so one more thing is, in the save data, we need to input a player data to be able to save, so we'll be just calling it data there. So we go new player data, player data. Also up the top, we're going to be creating two strings, so we're going to be creating a private and a string, not string, string, and we're going to be calling this path, and we're going to be setting it equal to nothing for now. Then we're going to be creating another one, string, and this one is going to be called the persistent path. Then we're going to be creating a public void, and this is going to be called set paths, and this is where we're going to set the paths of where our data is going to go. And what we're going to be doing, curly bracket, what we can do is path is equal to application.datapath plus path.alt. I need to remember this. Alt directory separator. There we go. Plus save data .json. So this is going to be where we're going to be saving our base data, and then obviously we need to set our persistent path, and I called it persistent, or persistent path. We need to set it as persistent path. Makes more sense. We can go persistent path is equal to application dot data path. Oh, data path plus. Actually, sorry, it's persistent data path. Persistent data path plus path dot, you guessed it, alt directory separator card plus save data dot JSON. So now we have set our paths. Now we can actually get onto saving and loading some data, as this is the more interesting part, and actually the part that works. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting the paths. To make it more sense, I'm actually going to call that set paths. Then what we can do is we can go a string called JSON, awesome, is equal to JSON utility dot to JSON. And here we can input our data. What is this going to do? Well, it's going to set our path, so it's going to make sure that our paths are, you know, set in the right space, and that's where our data is going to be saved. In the Unity panel, it's going to be saved in the assets folder. If you want it somewhere else, you can also add to it. And if you want it in you know, when you build the game, it's going to be in the same folder as everything else. So it will just be a JSON file. You might want to change this again if you want to. So we're setting the paths, and then we're creating a string, and we're just calling it JSON, basic name. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using something called JSON utilities, which is a built-in C# function, I believe, which converts a data. So in our case, it is a class of data that contains a string, and an integer into something that the computer can place into a document that is in a JSON format. So you'll see what I mean in a second by this. Not in a second, in about a minute or two. But yeah, really cool stuff. Next, we're just going to debug what we just created. So we can go debug.log, and we can go just something like created plus, or created that, and we can go plus, and then we can just go JSON. And this is just going to show us when we create something. And next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a stream writer. So we can go using stream writer, and then we can go is equal to a new stream writer, and here we can input a path. The path, so this is where it's going to go, and we can go writer, there we go, and we can go writer.write, and here we can input our JSON. So it's going to actually, so essentially what we're doing is we're using a stream writer, which is something that can write text into something, and we're going to be using it as a new stream writer, and we're going to be inputting a path, so it knows where to write data to. And then we're going to go call the write function, where it's going to write our JSON string, which we memory converted up here, putting that into the file. So then it turns into a JSON file, and it has stuff in it, which is cool. Now the load data. So instead of a void, we're actually going to be returning a player data type, and this is for a really, really good reason. So what we can do is whenever we load, so in our player stats, we can actually, you know, not do that, and instead we actually use, you know, full curly braces. And then what we can do is we can go data is equal to JsonSaving.loadData. So we've actually set our data. We don't even need to use curly braces anymore. Still, anyway, so what we're essentially doing there is we're setting our data equal to our load data function, which is now returning a type of player data. Awesome, great. So first of all, we're going to be setting our paths again. You know, it's a little bit weird, but you know, if we're calling it from all different spaces, it might actually be helpful just to set the paths every time. It's a little bit inefficient, but it does prevent errors. Next, we're going to be using a stream reader, and it does the same thing as a stream writer, other than the opposite. It reads files rather than, you know, writes them. So we're going to be using a stream reader, and we're going to be setting it equal to the stream reader, and sorry, equal to a new stream reader, I might say, stream reader. And in here, we're going to input our persistent data path. Sorry. Not data path. And we can go reader dot read to end, and here we're going to input we can go a string, and JSON is equal to a stream reader dot read to end, and this is going to be called, oh, we don't even need to input anything. Awesome. We're just going to be reading to the end. I forgot. Awesome. And then we can debug.log our JSON. We can go loaded data, or loaded, we'll just do that, loaded plus JSON, and then we can go return JSON utility dot from JSON, and here we can do our JSON. Sorry, and we're supposed to put in the type here, so we can go type of player data. Awesome. So this is actually pretty much it. So if we go back to our thing, I guarantee I would have missed something. We did. Awesome. Oh, we haven't given it the data to save, right? In our player stats, and the save data, we can just input our data there, which is our player data up here. And we're creating it in the start function, so it's fine. Separator. Awesome. So don't make the same mistake I did. I have apparently been doing it for a very, very long time. Oh, persist. Oh, yeah, that was another one. Persistent data path. I remember doing it when I was doing the basic coding. Persistent data path. There we go. We are all good. We are done. Now, what we need to do is we object like I usually do with all my games. And we're just going to input the JsonSaving and the the player stats onto it, and it takes in a JsonSaving for this. You can also call, if you're using player stats from elsewhere, which you probably are, we can actually just set JsonSaving. Always good practice to do this. JsonSaving is equal to game object dot find game object with tag, and here we can input a tag, and we can input manager. Manager dot get component, and here we can input JsonSaving. If you know for a fact that you're going to put it under a manager class. Awesome. And to make sure this works, we're just going to be adding a tag, and it's going to be called manager. It cannot be a Joe Rickwood video without having, without doing this apparently. I do it in almost all of my videos. Anyways, so if we did everything correctly, theoretically it should save. Now, Unity has been doing a weird thing for me where it doesn't show up, but if I go into, you know, the file explorer, it comes up. So if I go assets, wait, have I actually called it? Oh, I haven't called it, right. So if I click save data, it's created, and if I click L, it says nothing. Oh, there we go. It's loaded. Sorry, it's yeah, it's created the data. Awesome. Could not find file. Yep, that's definitely an issue. Okay. What we can actually do is set both of these to path, and what that's gonna do is, because we've, you know, done everything, we can now just keep it as path. Awesome. Let's click play and see what happens. So we're going to save the data, and then we're going to load it. I've also changed up the data a bit so we can see. And as you can see, it doesn't show in the inspector. It's a bit weird. But inside the... Oh, yeah, there we go. It's changed now. We've reloaded it. And as you can see, it's changed there. So we can set both of them to path. And you might want to change them later on. I think when you're building the game, you might need to change them. But yeah, so this is actually a, you know, pretty basic and kind of introductory to saving data in Unity. If, you know, if I wanted to change this and I want to be like, oh, picky, well, we're reverting back our character, and this time instead of a warrior or mage, we're gonna be a, like, I don't know, warlock. What's the difference? I definitely just pissed a lot of people off. And we are very, very, very high level. Like, we've beaten Elder Garger of John and slain the mighty dragon of El Karida or something like that. Okay. let's shut up about the nerd talk. And we can now save the data. And as you can see, and we can load the data. And here, if we load this up, as you can see, it's changed. It's changed and it's added all our stuff. Now, obviously, we're wrapping up the video now. The biggest problem with this is it's not encrypted, so anyone can just go in and change it. But, you know, especially with this kind of stuff, you'd probably be using it for a big MMO. But you know, there are certain things that you wouldn't want to change, and for that there are C# classes on encryption. I could do a video on it later if you guys want me to. Tell me in the comments if you want me to go over that, as it's a very interesting topic. We can even make our own encrypting way of encrypting. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, click the like button, subscribe, it really helps out. We're at 160 subs, we're getting up there, 161 actually now that I'm recording this video. But we're getting up there, we're getting a bit more reach, we can help some more people. Also join our Discord. We're a bunch of, you know, like I said at the start of this video, a bunch of chill guys. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time, and have a good day.